Hey, what's up, guys? It's Alex Espinoza with the Rickey Henderson of YouTube. I want to start up a little something new called the Rickey Report. I don't know if I can do it every day. I'll probably drive myself crazy if I do it every day. But my goal is to do this like Monday through Fridays. Just kind of update you on what's going on in A's-landia because they are a baseball team after all. We're still going to do the podcast like once a week but usually we're kind of focusing on the stadium there. So I figure, you know what, the A's are a baseball team. Let's talk about the baseball team too. So on Monday night, the A's lost their opener in Houston 9-2. Ross Stripling gave up 3 runs, 2 earned in 5 innings, and he dropped to 1-7 with a 4.98 ERA. He's actually, I believe he's the highest paid player on the A's right now. He's getting $9.25 million from them. The Giants are paying $3.25 million of his salary. And they're hoping, so his numbers aren't great. You know, like I said, 1-7, 4.98. People don't care about pitcher records, but he's been taking L's. But he leads the A's with 9 starts and 47 innings pitched, but he also leads MLB with 60 hits allowed. So it wasn't all his fault though. The defense was bad. They gave up 3 errors, and the bullpen gave up 5 late runs, including 2 from Mitch Spence and 3 from Easton Lucas. And Lucas just got called up because Paul Blackburn is on the 15-day DL with a foot injury. Mark Kotsay doesn't really know when he got it. It sounds like it's kind of a stress fracture thing, but they're hoping it's not too long term. And, Blackburn had been struggling lately after he started the season with 22 and a third scoreless inning streak to set an Oakland record. But he still leads the Oakland starters with a 4.11 ERA. So, of course, they want to get him back up here as soon as possible. And the A's also got worked by Alex Bregman. He's been struggling this year, but he had 2 dingers, he had a double, he had 4 RBIs, and there's a lot of trade rumors around him. I saw some headlines saying that he could be traded this year because the Astros, they're struggling. They're 16-25 right now. They actually have a worse record than the A's. And the 30-year-old Bregman he's batting just .218 even after that big game last night with a 79 OPS plus. I thought it was cool during the broadcast yesterday. Dallas Braden dropped a cool nugget. He was saying how, I guess during BP, Bregman he hit 2 dingers back to back, and then he immediately went to the coaching staff. He's like, "Oh, save that video. We need that video." So maybe he figured something out. Maybe the old Alex Bregman is back, or maybe he's gonna find himself on a new team, before the trade deadline. So we'll see. As far as the A's went, Brent Rooker stays hot at the plate. He went 2 for 3 with a walk and a double. And last week he was named AL Player of the Week, and he's kept it going. Of course, last week he had that game where he had 2 dingers in the same inning and drove in 5 runs in the same inning. And then I think the next day he was named AL Player of the Week. But yeah, he's kept it up going. And since May, he leads MLB with a 1.469 OPS, which is pretty ridiculous. And yes, if you're wondering about his contract status, because whenever a player does good on the A's, they're immediately thrown into trade rumors. Like we saw what happened with Mason Miller. Ken Rosenthal recently wrote an article last week saying, a bunch of teams are already asking about Mason Miller because he's going off this year. So what about Rooker? He's actually making the league minimum this year in his last year of pre-arbitration. So next year he'll hit arbitration. I'm sure he'll get a fat raise if he keeps this up. And so we'll see. We'll see how the A's are doing. That's one thing I think is funny about this whole Sacramento thing. Is like, dude, what if they make the playoffs? Is that has MLB even thought like, oh, the A's might host a playoff thing, But so who knows? I don't know what the A's strategy is. They're trying to build something right now with his young core and keep him around, or if they're just trying to get rid of him, get some more young guys in here who can grow with this young core. So we'll see what happens. And speaking of young guys, Tyler Soderstrom has been hot at the plate, at least in the plate, since he got called up on May 8th. He just looks a lot more confident up there. Obviously, it's a small sample size, hasn't even been a week, but he's 6 for 16, so that's 375 with a dinger, 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. But he also has 6 strikeouts and no walks. And right now he has an opportunity that Ryan Noda was struggling. He's down in AAA right now, so Soderstrom's going to get a little look here. And, he had 7 homers and 102 at-bats with the Aviators before his call-up. But, of course, last year he looked way overmatched when he was up in Oakland. He arrived with a lot of hype. He was their top prospect. And, but he hit 160 last year in 45 games, and he just looked kind of lost out there. And I think it's all mental with him. I'm not sure, Maybe he put too much weight on him, expectations on himself. He's still a young kid. I think he's 21, 22 years old. But, yeah, so I think his biggest concern is definitely his defense. I think people, initially it was everything. But I think right now it's his defense. I think he's looking better at the plate. Still don't have much confidence in him either behind the plate or at first base. In yesterday's game, he made a bad decision. Ross Stripling messed up too. So Soderstrom got a ball and he threw it to third base. Nobody was covering. The run came around to score. This weekend he had a nice leaping catch at first base, but I don't know. He needs a lot of work. I don't know where Ron Washington's at. Get Soderstrom into being a picking machine. But Soderstrom, yeah, at least his bat looks better, and who knows? Maybe if he keeps it up, maybe he'll stay up here and Noto's stay down there. But yeah, he really needs to work on his defense, kind of find himself a home. I think he's too young and athletic to be a DH right now, but I think eventually that'll definitely be his role as he gets older. But yeah, he's still a young kid. So overall, the A's are 2-7 since their 6-game win streak. I really thought Saturday's 8-1 win. They had so many contributions from so many guys. I thought that would spark them, but nah, they've lost their last 2 games since. But hey, they're the only team with an OPS over 800 in May. Shout out to Jay Kuda, who makes these hilarious graphics and stats. Only the finest graphics on Twitter. So, and some other A's news is farewell to Khris Davis. Salute. Beloved A's player by fans and in the clubhouse. And he is going to pursue a career as a car mechanic, according to Bob Nightingale. So even though he hadn't played in 3 years, he formally announced his retirement from baseball yesterday. And he's recently graduated from an automotive institute in Arizona. He's been taking class with like 19 and 20-year-olds. And his motivation is, I swear to God, I'm not even making this up. His motivation is he wants to be like the guys in Fast and Furious. He said he saw the movie when he was 13 and he just always thought it was cool. Here's a quote he told Nightingale. He said, "I just wanted to be part of that scene where you just have like a car, where you have like car friends and guys hang out at shows and races. There's something to be said about having a nice car." So I guess he's starting to mess around with his thing. He said he didn't even know how to change a tire before he took a class, but now he's got a new hobby. So happy trails to Khris Davis. Good luck to him. KD, he hit 100. Of course, he's probably most famous for hitting 247 4 straight seasons, which is absurd and really impossible, hard to do, but he did it. And also for his huge power displays from 2016 to 18, he hit 133 dingers, hit over 40 home runs 3 straight seasons, and he led all of baseball with 48 in 2018. But he was never really the same after this crash in Pittsburgh on Cinco de Mayo in 2018. He made the catch, but you can see he like ran into the wall. He hurt his hip and he just grimaced, and he was just kind of hurting. And he never really got his power back after that, even though the A's signed him to a 2-year, $33.5 million extension, which was huge by Fisher standards for the A's. But so the last time he played was in 2021, and I was actually in Las Vegas. At that time, I was kind of doing like a joint thing. I was scouting out potential sites for the A's back in 2021 when they were going there, talking about that. And then KD was also on a rehab assignment down there. So, or I don't know, he wasn't even on a rehab assignment. They signed him to a minor league deal, and he was trying to make his comeback. And so he was absolutely on fire before his call-up, hitting dingers left and right. And then, as Uprooted Oakland shared on Twitter, in his final at-bat with the A's, he hit a game-tying home run in the 9th inning. So, good way to go out if you're going to go out. So, shout out to KD. I hope he's all good. And one last bit of news is we finally got a ruling from the Nevada State Supreme Court in the Schools Over Stadiums appeal. And the court sided with the A's and shot down Schools Over Stadiums' petition to get it Senate Bill 1, the ballpark Senate bill, on the ballot for November for Nevada voters. And a lot of people speculated that if this got in front of Nevada voters, they would shoot it down and the A's wouldn't be able to get the $380 million in public funding that they seek, and they've already got from Nevada legislators. So A's are probably happy to get rid of that thing. And even if the court did side with Schools Over Stadiums, they only would have had about, I think it was 44 days, I believe, to get 102,000 signatures throughout the state of Nevada in order to get this thing back to the proper hands to get this thing on the ballot. So it would have been a really, really tough thing anyways, even if they got the right ruling. But it took a while. I think it took a couple of weeks. So now they're going to focus on litigation. Schools Over Stadiums is challenging Senate Bill 1 in 5 different areas based on its constitutionality. And they also said that they're going to try to get this back on the ballot in 2026. So Schools Over Stadiums is still going to fight. We'll see what happens with that one. All right, so that's it for this episode of the Rickey Report. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Like and subscribe. And we're going to have more content coming up this week. The Rickey on the Road is coming back. I was in Baltimore a couple weeks ago, so I'm crunching those videos out. I already put the Rickey on the Road New York, my visit to Yankee Stadium, so check that out. And we'll also be having Rob Roberts, and a.k.a. NorCal Nodders, and Gamer Athletics, Gabe Hernandez, on here to talk about their safari to get the Rooted in Oakland truck rate. The Rooted in Oakland truck and that whole... the truck gate or whatever they're calling it. So, all right, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot for listening.